One day, on a hillside overlooking the Sea of Galilee, Jesus gathered a crowd of people. They were ordinary men, women, and children. Farmers, fishermen, mothers, fathers, the poor, the weary, the hopeful. They leaned in to listen, and Jesus began to teach. What he said that day would become known as the Beatitudes, 8 declarations of blessing that turn the world's values upside down. These words were not just promises for the future. They were an invitation into a new way of living, a journey of the heart that still speaks to us today. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The journey begins with humility. To be poor in spirit means to recognize our deep need for God. It's admitting that no amount of success, wealth, or ability can fill the emptiness inside. The world teaches us to be self-sufficient, to prove ourselves, to never admit weakness. But Jesus says the ones who acknowledge their need are the ones who gain the greatest treasure, the kingdom of heaven itself. True wealth begins with spiritual poverty, when we know we cannot do life without Him. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Jesus moves from humility to sorrow. To mourn is to feel the weight of what is broken. Whether it's the loss of someone we love, the sting of our own failures, or the pain of a broken world. But mourning is not hopeless. Jesus promises comfort. God comes close to the brokenhearted and whispers hope into the darkest nights. Our tears are never wasted. They are seeds of comfort and healing in His hands. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Meekness is not weakness, it's strength under control. Like a wild horse that has been tamed, meekness is power guided by humility. The world rewards the loud, the forceful, the ones who demand their way. But Jesus says it's the meek, the gentle, the humble, who will inherit the earth. Because meekness trusts God's timing, God's ways, and God's justice. And in that quiet trust, there is strength greater than the world has ever known. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Have you ever been so hungry, so thirsty, that nothing else mattered until you found food and water? That's the picture Jesus paints here. To hunger and thirst for righteousness means to long for God's ways to be lived out in us and in our world. For justice where there is injustice, for truth where there are lies, for purity where there is corruption. And the promise? God Himself will satisfy that hunger. He will fill us with His presence now, and one day He will make all things right. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Mercy is love in action. It's showing compassion to the hurting, forgiveness to the offender, and kindness to the undeserving. We live in a world that often says, get even, but Jesus calls us to forgive, to release, to be merciful, because God has poured His mercy on us. And when we extend mercy, we experience mercy in return. The more we give, the more we understand the depth of God's compassion for us. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Purity of heart is not about outward perfection, but about inward devotion. It means having a heart that is undivided, sincerely seeking God without hidden motives or double standards. In a noisy world filled with distractions, a pure heart keeps its focus on God. And Jesus promises something incredible. Those who are pure in heart will see God, not only in eternity, but even now. In the quiet moments, in creation, in acts of kindness, in the beauty of His truth all around us. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. A peacemaker is not someone who avoids conflict, but someone who brings reconciliation where there is division. It takes courage to step into broken relationships, to build bridges, and to bring truth and grace together. But when we do, we reflect the heart of God Himself, the ultimate peacemaker who reconciled us to Himself through Christ. That's why peacemakers are called children of God. They look like their Father in heaven. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Finally, Jesus speaks of those who suffer because they stand for what is right. To follow Him sometimes means rejection, ridicule, even persecution, but Jesus says this is not a loss, it is a blessing. for those who endure for his sake already belong to the kingdom of heaven. Their reward is greater than anything the world can take away. The Beatitudes are not just isolated blessings, they are a spiritual journey, from humility to hope, from meekness to mercy, from purity to peace, and even through persecution to eternal reward. This is the way of the kingdom. This is the life Jesus invites us into. So ask yourself, which of these blessings is God inviting me to live out today? Where am I on this journey of the Beatitudes? Because true blessing is not found in wealth, power, or comfort, but in becoming more like Christ. The Beatitudes are not just words spoken on a hillside long ago. They are a roadmap for us today, a call to live differently, a call to live blessed.